What if I told you that the most powerful prayer you'll ever pray might leave you limping, that sometimes God's greatest blessings come wrapped in our deepest struggles? Tonight, I want to share with you a midnight encounter that changed not just one man's name, but the entire course of human history. This is the story of Jacob, a deceiver, a schemer, a man running from his past, who discovered that sometimes you have to wrestle with the divine to find your true identity. Picture this. It's the dead of night. The year is somewhere around 2000 BC. A man stands alone by a riverbank, and he's terrified. His name is Jacob, which literally means heel grabber or deceiver. And friend, he's lived up to that name his entire life. This is a guy who conned his own brother out of his birthright for a bowl of soup. This is a man who lied to his blind, dying father to steal his brother's blessing. Jacob is the ultimate schemer, the original con artist. And now he's about to face the music. You see, Jacob is returning home after 20 years of exile, and waiting for him with 400 armed men is his twin brother Esau. The same brother he betrayed, the same brother who once swore to kill him. Can you imagine the fear coursing through Jacob's veins? But here's where the story gets wild, America. As Jacob sends his family across the Jabbok River, planning to face his brother alone, something extraordinary happens. The Bible tells us that a man came and wrestled with him until daybreak. Now I want you to really picture this scene. It's pitch black. Jacob is already emotionally and mentally exhausted. And suddenly, out of nowhere, someone attacks him, not with words, not with threats, but with raw physical force. For hours, they grapple in the darkness. Sweat mixing with dirt, muscles straining, breath coming in ragged gasps. This isn't some gentle meditation, folks. This is full-contact, no-holds-barred wrestling, and here's what blows my mind. Jacob doesn't know who he's fighting. Is it an assassin sent by Esau? Is it a robber? A wild man? He has no idea. All he knows is that he's fighting for his life, and he refuses to give up. As dawn begins to break, something incredible happens. Jacob realizes this isn't just any man he's been wrestling with. The text hints that this mysterious figure is actually a manifestation of God himself, what theologians call a theophany. Can you wrap your mind around that? Jacob, this lying, cheating, scheming man, has been wrestling with the creator of the universe all night long. And get this, he's holding his own, but then the divine wrestler does something that changes everything. With just a touch, just one touch, he dislocates Jacob's hip. In an instant, Jacob goes from a strong wrestler to a limping man. The message is clear. I could have ended this any time I wanted, Jacob, but I let you wrestle with me. Now here's where Jacob's character truly shines through. Even injured, even limping, even knowing he's been overpowered by the divine, Jacob doesn't let go. Instead, he does something that seems almost crazy. He clings tighter. I will not let you go unless you bless me, Jacob declares. Think about the audacity of that statement. This man, who has spent his whole life trying to grab blessings through deception and manipulation, is now literally wrestling a blessing out of God. But this time it's different. This time he's not scheming or plotting. He's simply refusing to quit. And friends, this is where Jacob teaches us something profound about prayer, about faith, about our relationship with God. Sometimes prayer isn't pretty. Sometimes it's not peaceful. Sometimes prayer is a wrestling match where you're limping, exhausted and desperate, but you refuse to let go. Then comes the question that changes everything. What is your name? Now, God doesn't need information. He knows Jacob's name, but he's asking Jacob to confess who he really is. And for the first time in his life, Jacob tells the truth about himself. Jacob, he answers, my name is Jacob. He's admitting it. I'm the deceiver. I'm the schemer. I'm the heel grabber. I'm the one who's messed up over and over again. And that's when God drops the bombshell. Your name will no longer be Jacob, but Israel, because you have struggled with God and with humans and have overcome. Israel, it means God fights, or he who wrestles with God. In one moment, Jacob's entire identity is transformed. The deceiver becomes the overcomer. The schemer becomes the patriarch of an entire nation. But here's the beautiful irony. Jacob walks away, limping. He's blessed, he's transformed. He has a new name and a new destiny, but he's limping. That limp becomes his reminder that true strength comes not from his own ability to scheme and manipulate, but from his willingness to wrestle with God until he receives what he needs. And friends, let me tell you something, that limp changed the course of human history. Because Jacob, now Israel, becomes the father of the 12 tribes of Israel. His descendants become the nation through which God would eventually bring the Messiah into the world. Every time Israel took a step, that limp reminded him, this is what real prayer looks like. This is what it means to not give up on God, even when the wrestling gets tough. Now let me bring this home to you, America. Maybe you're listening to this tonight, and you're in your own midnight moment. Maybe you're facing a situation where you feel like you're wrestling with God, questioning why He's allowing certain things in your life. Maybe you're like Jacob, running from your past mistakes, terrified of what's waiting for you around the corner. Maybe you've been the deceiver, the one who's made bad choices, and you feel like you've disqualified yourself from God's blessings. Or maybe you're in a season where you're literally wrestling in prayer over a sick child, a broken marriage, a financial crisis, an addiction that won't let go. You've been praying and praying, and it feels like God is fighting against you instead of for you. Let me tell you what Jacob's story teaches us. Don't let go, don't give up, don't walk away from the wrestling match, because sometimes God allows the wrestling not to defeat us, but to transform us. Sometimes He lets us struggle, not because He doesn't love us, but because He loves us too much to leave us unchanged. Jacob teaches us that there's a kind of prayer that refuses to be denied. It's not the pretty, polite prayers we pray in church. It's the desperate, clinging, I will not let you go kind of prayer that happens in our darkest moments. This is the prayer of a parent standing over a hospital bed, refusing to stop believing for healing. This is the prayer of someone fighting addiction, wrestling with God until breakthrough comes. This is the prayer of a person facing financial ruin, holding on to God's promises when everything looks hopeless. This is wrestling prayer, and it changes everything. Here's what I love about Jacob's story. God didn't wrestle with him to hurt him. God wrestled with him to bless him, but the blessing could only come through the struggle. You see, God had to strip away Jacob's self-reliance, his tendency to manipulate and scheme his way to success. God had to bring him to a place where he could no longer depend on his own strength, his own cleverness, his own ability to work the angles. And maybe that's what's happening in your life right now. Maybe God is allowing the wrestling, the struggle, the midnight moments, because He's trying to strip away everything you've been depending on besides Him. Maybe He's not fighting against your dreams, He's fighting for them. But first, He has to change you into the person who can handle the blessing He wants to give you. When Jacob became Israel, he didn't just get a new name, he got a new destiny. The same man who had been running from his past suddenly had the courage to face his brother Esau. The same man who had been driven by fear was now walking in faith. And friends, that's what happens when we wrestle with God and refuse to let go. We don't just get answers to our prayers, we get transformed into the kind of people who can carry the weight of those answered prayers. God doesn't just want to give you a blessing, He wants to make you a blessing. But that transformation often comes through the wrestling. Jacob's limp became his testimony. Every step he took for the rest of his life reminded him, and everyone who saw him, that he was a man who had wrestled with God and lived to tell about it. Your struggles, your midnight wrestling matches with God, they're not signs of weak faith. They might just be signs that God is preparing to do something incredible in your life. The limp isn't a disability, It's a testimony. It's proof that you didn't give up when the wrestling got tough. It's evidence that you chose to stay in the fight until the blessing came. Notice that Jacob's wrestling match ended at daybreak. After the long night of struggle, the sun finally rose. And with that sunrise came transformation, blessing, and a new beginning. Whatever midnight you're walking through right now, whatever wrestling match you're in with God, remember this: weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. The dawn is coming, the wrestling won't last forever, but the transformation that comes from refusing to let go of God in your darkest hour, that will last for eternity. So hold on, America. Keep wrestling, keep praying. Keep believing that the God who blessed Jacob is the same God who wants to bless you. Your midnight secret might just be that sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is refuse to let go of God, even when, especially when, it feels like He's fighting against you. Because on the other side of your wrestling match, there's a new name waiting for you. There's a new identity. There's a blessing that can only come through the struggle. Don't let go. Your transformation is coming with the dawn.